So you don't need to,
Mm.
get the teeth and claws out, raise the hackles. This person is safe. And because you've cultivated that, back and forth with the spirits that inhabit your landscape, things go smoothly.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also interesting how, I don't know if you've ever experienced something quite like this, where even when you, like, I've had it happen to where um, uh, I had somebody here who, you know, was a brother to me. They were like kin to me, um, but they had come at a time and under a certain circumstance where um, it wasn't good, you know. And I, in my effort of hospitality and love and whatnot, extended an invitation. Hey, come in, take refuge. And they couldn't. They couldn't walk through the threshold of our door. And I thought that was interesting because it's almost like the guardians of the space were like, we're not going to let this happen. We're not going to put you in harm's way. And so you can say all you want to invite them in, but we're preventing that from happening.
Wow.
Um, that's happened before. I don't know if you've ever had anything quite like that happen, but I've seen the work. I've seen the spirits at work in lots of different ways. That sort of um, again, that cooperative relationship between them, and then I've also seen them act definitely of their own agency in a way to safeguard the space, even if I thought otherwise.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I haven't had that happen to me, but I can't say that I'm surprised by that. They have a perception that is fundamentally different than ours, and maybe they picked up something that your eyes and your heart missed,
yeah,
because you had a relationship with that person that was in one context, and they were looking at it with fresh eyes and said, actually,
yeah,
mm-mm.
yeah, and that's another like thing, a moment that for me and my own cultic practices really kind of like drove the nail in and sealed it for me in terms of how important it is to uh, have these relationships and communicate with them and be present with them. It's one thing to go out into the wild, or in the river and be in their space, and you're sort of, again, you are 100% uh, a part of their space, but as a guest, a temporary guest. Um, and it's another thing to have those spirits of the land kind of look out for you in your local little spot. You know what I mean? At least that's how it's felt. There's a different sort of um, there's a different sort of energy locally here in this place than it would be outside in, like, a trail in the woods or in the river or somewhere out. Like we're not as familiar. We haven't established a relationship. I'm just, hey, I'm passing through. You know, thanks for letting me here, that sort of thing. But it's different when you're having those relationships, having those interactions day in and day out, and those types of experiences that I just described, where they kind of put their proverbial foot down and said no when I was trying to say yes. They saw things that I didn't see. It did put things in perspective for me. Being like, huh, we thank you for that. And let's keep that relationship going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what is it, the Havamal quote that a false friend will just sort of go along with whatever you say, but a real friend will tell you you're being a dumbass.
That's
To
exactly,
paraphrase.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I think that's the Hollander translation. Um,
Right.
but yeah, I mean, it's and good on you for hearing that lesson and not doing the individualist thing in where you dig your heels and you say, well, no, I have this idea of the way that things are going to go, and I'm going to force you to do things this way or the other.
Right.
Good on you for having that humility to learn the lesson and actually internalize it.